everybody. Welcome back to the Blonde Informants podcast. It's Karen. I'm one of your hosts, joined by Mariah Walker. Hey, Mariah.
Hi.
Hey, we're like live and in person.
Yeah, this is our new set.
Yeah,
I hope you like it.
It's a challenge.
It's been a lot of work.
It's been interesting, that's for sure. We've broken a few candles.
Plants.
Oh, yeah.
But we're here now.
We're here. It's happening. I have this really, really wonky setup for my mic, so
don't mind that.
It's just, it is what it is. But we're happy to be here with you guys. Thanks for tuning in for this episode. We are, of course, sponsored by Narrow Path Wellness, and that is our parent company, which is really focused around healthy lifestyles, really coming to a place where you live with like an 80-20 kind of mindset, where 80% of the time you're making conscious. Ooh, very good decisions with your health. And 20% of the time just having a good time and living your life and being grateful. Yeah, and being grateful for what God has blessed you with. So we're just about finding that balance and taking care of ourselves and, really honoring the temple that the Lord has provided. So, so today's topic, what are we talking about today?
So we have a few things that I wanted us to go over. The first one is mitochondrial health, which, if anyone else has gone to public school, is the powerhouse of the cell. And that is pretty much all I ever knew about it or remembered about it.
Nice.
But you've been mentioning it quite a bit lately, so I'm interested to hear more about, what it is, what it means, how we can take care of it, why it's important. So what are your thoughts on that? What have you researched?
Well, I listened to a few podcasters who have been really kind of educating me on mitochondria, because mitochondria really, they're kind of the powerhouse of our cells. And apparently, according to one of the podcasts that I was listening to, you lose about 50% of your mitochondria once you hit 40. And then I guess it goes down every decade by like 10 or 15% from there. The good news is, though, is you can produce new mitochondria. So you can continue to generate mitochondria to offset the loss. And you can also clean out the zombie or dead mitochondria, or the not working, like the broken mitochondria. And so I've just been kind of like listening and learning and researching that a little bit. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's fascinating. It's kind of above my pay grade because they really get into cell structures and cellular energy. And that's something that I'm interested in, but definitely not an expert in quite yet. So what have you learned? Yeah, I need that microscope. Yeah.
Okay, so from what I've read, the best definition I've seen about mitochondria in terms of health is that it generates most of the cell's supply of ATP, which is what's used as a source of chemical energy in your body.
Mm-hmm.
So basically the mitochondria is responsible for helping your metabolism, and then also aids in like cell death. And then if you have like a dysfunction with your mitochondria, that's how you get things like neurodegenerative diseases, metabolic disorders, and just general like health decline. So sounds like it's a lot more important than the amount of people talking about it. So
yeah, for sure. Well, and the thing that is interesting too is that some of the strategies that you can utilize to like strengthen your mitochondria include things like intermittent fasting, which we have heard for a long time that fasting is good. It's even biblical. I mean, if you look throughout the Bible, there are numerous occasions where God's people will actually fast and pray. And there's a reason for that. I mean, there's lots of reasons for that, but it actually does help our cells. So when that happens, it's actually really, really good. Calorie restriction or fasting, intermittent fasting is good for that. Now, one thing that's important to know is that fasting all the time, or doing like the keto kind of and trying to get into ketosis all the time, is actually can be not helpful to your body. So you have to do these things in moderation and, obviously talk to your doctor or your professional. Exercise actually is a really good way to help your mitochondria. So,
Mm.
actually, muscle cells respond by producing more mitochondria, and the more mitochondria enzymes, this increases your respiratory capacity in the muscles, and it allows you to produce the ADP from the nutrients to power the muscle contractions.
Mm.
So that's kind of interesting. So you can't really escape like the fasting, you know, and I think it's important. I think there's some really good research that supports like don't eat when the sun goes down. Like don't eat
Yeah.
when the sun goes down.
Mhm.
Some people will even stop eating sooner than that, maybe like 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock is their last meal of the day.
Mhm.
Um, but and then having that nice period of time, which most of it you should be sleeping, so it's not like it's that hard to not eat, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're like your dad and I, we like to go to bed
Phoebe in
pretty
bed.
early.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
and then just getting exercise, like we cannot stress the fact. And the thing is that we wouldn't need exercise if we lived lifestyles like we used to.
Yeah.
You know, if we were
Like
farming
had
and
active lives.
yeah,
Yeah.
milking cows and like hauling in our laundry from the, clothesline. But we don't do those things anymore. So I'm sorry to inform all of you, especially those of you who are like me who have a desk job. You're going to have to get off your bum and you're going to have to exercise. There's no getting around it. There's nothing else you can do to produce the type of activity to keep your mitochondria strong.
Yeah.
Those are a couple things that I wanted to point out. But what do
Yeah.
you got?
Yeah, I think yep, exercising. I'm just seeing like what else you can do to help with that. Nutrient dense eating. So when you do consume calories throughout the day, I mean, you obviously want to have like a set amount that you consume because you won't be able to burn off more than that amount. And whatever you choose to consume within that, like let's say, I don't know, 1500 calories a day, you want it to be really nutrient dense. So you want to have minerals, vitamins coming in. You want to eat foods that are, really going to do the most for the least amount of calories. You don't want to just fill it up with empty calories all day because that's really not feeding your cells and your mitochondria what it needs. So, and then sleep, people have really bad sleep these days. I feel like sleep health is really poor for a lot of people, especially young
Can we
people.
pause with the sleep?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the sleep thing is so important.
Hmm.
And I think there's so much packed into that. We could do a whole episode about sleep because I think one of the, got to move my wonky mic setup here. One of the things with sleep is that people are not in tune to their circadian rhythms
Hmm.
and they're staying up way later than they should. They're not getting up when the sun comes up. They're also at nighttime being exposed to all that blue light from their devices.
Yeah.
They're engaged in highly active, like highly energizing activity, or they're eating sugars later in the day,
Hmm.
which fights
Sleep.
I mean, it literally fights the melatonin that your body's producing. And like also just going outside and like watching a sunset, there's infrared that comes from the sun
Yeah.
setting, which helps your body go into that mode and produce the melatonin naturally. We're not doing those things. And
Hmm.
so there's a whole episode that we could do about sleep. I think is really, really important. But
Yeah. And, people need different amounts of sleep. Like women
mhm,
actually are supposed to be getting more sleep than men are. So,
nice.
I mean, we should definitely be prioritizing. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just what they say, but yeah, we should be prioritizing sleep. And I feel like that's kind of one thing that usually goes to the wayside for a lot of people.
Thankfully, not me. I have
Yeah, you
always
sleep
been
good.
a really good sleeper. I go to
Yeah.
bed, I get 8 hours, sometimes eight and a half hours if I need it, sometimes seven if I'm traveling. I mean, I am a good sleeper. I sleep soundly. I feel refreshed when I wake up. So I'm super grateful for that
Yeah,
because,
you should be.
well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I would
honestly,
pay I would pay to sleep good.
you'll
Yeah.
get there. We'll
Yeah.
work on that. We'll try some
Get some
strategies.
infrared.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Did you talk
Um
at all about the nutrients? You talked about the nutrient rich diets, but like getting your B vitamins, certain
CoQ10.
minerals, yeah, yep, exactly. And then actually I've started taking a product by Timeline, which I'm
We
gonna
could link it.
yeah, I'm gonna put it in the show notes, but it's actually really, really incredible. So it's the number one doctor recommended supplement for mitochondria health. And so we'll put a link to, and we can talk more about that. Maybe we'll have one of the representatives from that company come on and talk about their product, but it helps with that whole process of keeping your mitochondria healthy and then getting rid of the ones that are zombie mitochondria. They're dead, they're not working properly, and they need to be disposed of. So anyways, I've been really, really excited about their product. And then they also have a line of skincare products that I've been using. I put it on and I love the way it feels, like love it. Now I've only been using it for less than 30 days. So once I get through like maybe a few more months, I will do a review of it. But yeah, so
cool.
yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh,
That'd be cool. I want to try that.
Cool. What else on the mitochondria? Did you mention sunlight?
I think you mentioned the infrared.
Okay. What about regular good old vitamin D sunshine?
Oh yeah, and I think you said something about like if you go out in the morning or something and you get the morning sunlight too.
At sunrise and sunset, yep, you can get all that infrared. But actually
that probably lines up your circadian rhythm too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And then the best time to get your vitamin D from the sun is I believe it's between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock, noon and 2, somewhere in that range. That's when the sun has the strongest UVs, I guess, or something, or the best quality UVs that will actually penetrate the skin. So what they recommend is going outside with as few clothes as you can legally do.
Yeah.
I mean, in the old HOA out here, you're not going to get very far. So it's going to be shorts and a tank top, I guess.
Right.
But
yeah, it's probably best.
Yeah. Don't want to create any issues with the old HOA.
Right. Yeah. Okay, cool. So let's see. Are you ready to move on to our next topic?
Did you talk though about the mitochondria and cold plunge? Because that's another really important activity.
Oh, I didn't. I am never going to do that.
Even a cold shower?
No.
You don't do that either?
No.
No. Yeah, okay.
I am not going to get in a cold shower.
But NAD also helps mitochondria. You take NAD, don't you?
I think I take NAC.
Ah, okay. NAD has been really important to ADP.
Is that like the
production.
free radical protection?
So it's a molecule derived from vitamin B3 found in every cell in our body. NAD has a key role in mitochondrial function.
Okay.
So yeah, I take NAD every day. So I've got a couple brands I can link up in the show notes as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll try to get an expert on that can actually deep dive into mitochondria, because
I feel like I'm hearing it a lot more.
Well, you are. It's kind of out on the circuits right now. But the thing that's interesting about mitochondria is that mitochondria, in the proper functioning of our cells and the energy usage of our cells is tied to so many other things. So like people who have like pre-diabetes or diabetes, I mean, really their body is not using energy appropriately, and so they have crappy mitochondria. I mean, for lack of a better term, there's all these other conditions.
Disorders.
Yes, metabolic disorders are all tied into how your mitochondria are using energy, because if your body's not using energy right, then it freaks out and it starts storing forms of energy, which can be stored as fat, or it can start misusing things. So yeah, there's a whole thing packed in.
Anything to do with PCOS.
It is. Yes. Yep. Absolutely. So we'll try to find an expert in that space that's a little more scientifically advanced.
Maybe I should start looking more into that.
For sure.
All right. Well, good. Cool. So let's move on. We're going to just briefly go over something I like to talk about a little bit. And the benefits of making food from scratch, which, I mean, I was going to talk about that, but I guess more it's like not eating processed food, which we both don't really do very much. Yeah. I feel like you don't really do that either, but you also don't like to cook. Yep. But you find ways to not have to maneuver around. Yeah. I mean, the cool thing is we live in an age where, I mean, not everything's super great, but we have things like Thrive, and like those different options where you can still get like organic, non-GMO, right, good foods that are convenient, which obviously you don't want to do that for everything, but you can do it for a decent amount and still be getting nutrient dense foods. So
Mhm.
yeah, but I just wanted to touch on it a little bit because I think it's an important thing for people to try if they want to and can. But
Yeah.
not every but I will say, I know a lot of people are talking about, oh, cook from home, cook from scratch, bake your sourdough. And, if you're working like you do
Yeah.
full time, I mean, you just don't have time to do that.
No.
So, do you have any tips for avoiding processed foods and still finding convenient ways to get nutrient dense foods?
Yeah, I mean, I think the simplest thing is just eat meat. Like,
Oh
get a
yeah, that's
steak,
true.
cook a steak, eat a
Yeah.
steak, and grab a handful of green beans and
Mhm.
some lettuce, and you're good to go. I mean, you don't have to be complicated. I think that's
Yeah.
one of the things. Like, you want to eat healthy, it doesn't have to be like 50,000 ingredients, all organic, grown in your own garden.
Yeah.
It can be as simple as a grass fed, grass finished, locally sourced piece of meat,
Yeah.
steak,
That's a good point. I didn't think.
grill it up,
Yeah.
medium,
And you're
not
not you don't have to do a bunch of fancy stuff to
no,
it.
sprinkle some yummy little sea salt on that sucker and some pepper and you're good to go. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be hard. So
Yeah,
for
and
me,
think about, people are gonna say, "Oh, well, that's expensive," but think about how much would like a
um,
ribeye or like a sirloin cost? Isn't that like
it-
$7 to $12?
yeah, maybe 10, $12.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's how much you would spend at like, I don't know, Chick-fil-A.
sure.
Probably less actually.
Or buying a bunch of ingredients to make a really
Right.
complicated dish.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to get all the things,
Yeah, and
right?
a
So,
steak, I mean, that's like, I mean, if you like steak, which
yeah.
most people do, I mean,
And if you
that's a
don't,
yummy
then
meal.
chicken,
Yeah.
or whatever. But
Yeah. For me,
yeah,
steak is, I don't like doing chicken, but I would do like for lunch or something, I would do a steak because that's a lot faster and
yeah,
I worry less about undercooking it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, the way that you cook too, I mean, you cook really healthy foods and they're just more
I'm a little more
complicated.
extra. Yeah.
Yeah. I just can't do that
I
after
enjoy it though. If you
you
don't
do.
enjoy
Right. I
it, yeah,
don't.
you really do have to
Yeah.
find ways to do it quick and easy. But I mean, obviously you do it and you really don't like to cook, I feel
No,
like.
not at all.
No. So
If
it
I
can
could
be
just pay
done.
someone to be my cook, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Like, I would love that.
Yeah. I know.
Oh,
See,
I hate
I like
cooking.
it, but
Yeah.
it's important either way, trying to avoid the processed foods. And when you do it for a long time, you really do start to like, you can taste the seed oil. You really can. I can. Can't you?
I don't know. I've never really.
No?
No.
Okay, well, we call it, me and my husband call it the seed oil coughs. When you have
Huh.
Chick-fil-A and you got all that phlegm in your throat and you're like,
Yeah. I call that the
"Ugh."
gluten cough.
Yeah, the gluten, I
Yeah.
mean, it's all the crap in it, probably.
Yeah.
It's just not good.
Right.
And then just to share, like, just for, if you're like, oh, I feel like most people cook from scratch. Well, this was back in 2018, and I'm sure the number's gone up by now, but 60% of calories consumed by Americans are from ultra processed
Ultra.
foods. Whatever that
Is that like
means.
mega
Mega.
fridge?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like,
Inside
I mean,
joke.
yeah, inside joke.
Yeah. You don't want to know about mega fridge.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that's a lot of ultra processed foods. So
This microphone setup is
good.
really good.
Yes. So we'll move on to our final little.
Well, wait, you didn't really talk too much about the cooking.
Oh,
my
oh,
gosh.
okay. Well, all
Yeah.
right. Well, I was just gonna say, yeah, I feel like it's, once you get into a routine with things, like okay, the first time you bake something like sourdough bread, or the first time you make some really complicated or really healthy meal, it's going to be really long and stressful, and you're probably going to mess a bunch of things up. You might waste some ingredients. Unfortunately, I mean, maybe not for you, but that's what I did. And it took probably 2 or 3 tries of like making it to finally have like a rhythm and know how to do it. So, I mean, it's not an easy thing to jump into and start, but once you do it, you can easily integrate it into your routine, and just make it a part of your life. And sometimes I don't really feel like making it, or I don't feel like doing it, but I just try to remember, like, especially when my baby gets older, like, I don't want to start, I don't want to not have good cooking habits and then start being like, oh, well, I don't feel like cooking, so better go get McDonald's. Like, I don't want to I don't want to do that, So I'm trying to get into a routine of it now and just make it a part of our lives so that when she gets older and she starts eating solids and everything, that we already have a good food situation,
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's good. I think that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
But for me, I work full time, and when I get
Yeah.
done working, the last thing I want to do is cook something that has 5 billion. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
It ain't
I wish there was a
happening.
better hopefully now that people are starting to wake up to how much poison is in our food, maybe someday they'll have a better system, it'd be cool if local farmers made little pre-cooked meals with their produce or something, or you know what I'm saying? I'm
Yeah,
sure we'll get there someday.
or
I don't
you
know.
can just be simple too. You don't always have to
Yeah.
be complicated. I think one
You
of the
don't have to
things
be complicated.
you
I'm very
don't.
extra.
You are extra. I mean, for
Yeah.
me, like I said,
I get
steak and
bored.
vegetables.
Yeah.
I'm fine having the same menu every single week and
Yeah,
keeping
so
it
that's how my
consistent.
husband is too.
Yeah, I don't need variety. In fact, I don't even like variety, I don't. That's why you'll find most of my wardrobe, it's black
Yep.
because I like black. I like wearing black. Black goes with
That's very masculine.
I don't. It's very Steve Jobs, I know.
It
But
is,
if you have an outfit or something you like, then just
Yeah.
buy a bunch of them and just take what. I mean, this is really what it is. It's one less decision you have to make every day.
Yeah.
I have enough decisions because I'm a manager and I lead a team of people and I have a pretty high stress job.
Yeah.
I need less decisions.
Yeah.
So if what I wear is one of those things, then great. I'm going to get rid of that decision. And cooking is the same. I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
So because I'm also a realtor and I also, I have a lot of side hustles. I do a lot of stuff and I always have. So yeah, cooking is but health is important.
Yeah.
So finding that balance of getting good quality food, that's easy.
Yeah.
That's the secret.
Right.
You know what we didn't talk about is the ice cream maker.
Oh,
We'll have to do a little episode on that once we get really good
we
at.
should do some taste tests.
Yes, we can.
Maybe we'll do some shorts or something of our taste tests
we're experimenting.
Deluxe creamy.
Yes, we're experimenting with healthy options for ice cream using raw milk for cats, of course.
Yep, for our cats. Yeah.
Yes, and lots of wholesome ingredients. So we'll talk more about that later.
Yeah, yeah. I tried the one I made with the yogurt and it was all right. I think we gotta tweak it, but yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, I mean, for me, since I'm stay at home, I mean, I like to try to learn to do things. I want to try to learn how to make certain things that they used to make back in the day because I feel like those are dying skills, They're learning how to make from scratch, a lot of foods I didn't used to think I could make whipped cream at home, I'm oh, you get that at the store, but it's now I know you can make it yourself. You don't have to go to the grocery store. So I like the thought of passing that on to our baby when she gets older. So
yeah, if we're not all living like Wally by then, drinking out of a sippy cup.
I ain't living like Wally. I'm not gonna.
You might not have a choice because with AI, your choices are being eliminated for you, bud.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, so are you ready to move on to our next segment?
Yeah, I think so. What's our next segment?
Our next segment is just our personal wellness updates and recap of, let's say, today's Friday when we're recording, so the last week.
Wow. Well, let's see.
I feel now that we're in
I'm going to trigger
routine.
Some folks with my update.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it has been raining nonstop in this ridiculous state that I've moved to here. Nonstop.
Something's going on here.
Yeah, well, that can be a conspiracy theory episode, but it has been raining nonstop. So I added a little something to my routine because I love the sun. I love the sun. And if I don't get sun, I get real cranky. So I broke out my sun lamp, my little artificial sun lamp. And I also have been going to the tanner. Oh my gosh.
You're like the tan mom. Have you seen that meme?
Gosh. No, I don't know that. But yeah, so all y'all out there are going to be like, oh my gosh, that's so unhealthy. It's like cats. Okay, but here's the thing, folks. I'm just going to point this out. My need for vitamin D for a week while it's raining far supersedes any damage that could which I would like to see the actual documented evidence. So bring it to me.
Oh, well, I'm sure they have, they have some things.
It's weird though, because you go to those tanners and like there's so many people in there, like so many people, it's packed. And I'm just like, wow, I've never met anyone that was like, oh my gosh, I went to the tanner for 40 years and now I have skin cancer. It's so weird. I've never in my entire 40, how old am I? 46?
46.
46 years. And I spent almost all of my teens and 20s going to the tanner. Have I ever met anyone?
Well, I think
Ever.
that we could make another conspiracy video about that, but they just don't want us to get in the sun.
I don't think
they want us
get
to
the
wear
vitamin
all
D.
the sunscreen. They want us to lather it up so that it doesn't touch our skin.
Well, anyways, regardless, that's something I did in the last week here because I can't stand rain nonstop. It's disturbing.
It's been really extra.
It's been weird.
Yeah.
But other than that, not really a whole lot. I mean, I've been cranking out the workouts. So, I've been working hard on getting back into my old deadlifting because of the move. I didn't have my barbells, all I had was my free weights. So finally got that kind of set up in the garage and have been doing my deadlifts a little more consistently. So it was a little sore, a little tender, but felt great.
Yeah.
So good.
Good.
Yeah. How about you?
Well, I haven't been doing too well with the exercise front.
Oh yeah, did you join my gym?
No. I haven't joined your gym yet. But I will join your gym. We just got to get it. I got to work it into my daily routine, which I have not done. But we do go for walks still. I still go for walks every day. And I've been trying to cook from scratch as much as possible. And I feel like I wasn't as good about buying organic like probably 5 months ago. But now I feel like I've finally switched over most of my ingredients over. So I feel a lot better about the things that we've been eating. Yeah, I mean, I definitely have room for improvement, but
don't we all?
Doing my best.
Yeah. Well, that's all it is. I mean, it's really, remember 80-20. It's like 80% of the time do the right thing.
Yeah.
And when you screw up, I mean, we're going to do that. You just own it.
Work harder the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like we are in a battle with our health because the entire planet is trying to, poison us with water, food, air, everything around us is toxic. And so it's attacking our body constantly. So we just have to be on the defense, but we also need to be on the offense, like take care of our body.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not like I feel sometimes guilty, like letting off the pedal. Like if I eat, like if we go out to dinner and I'm like, yum, the bread, I'm going for the bread today.
Yeah.
But then again,
80-20.
I also don't. Yeah. But then I'm like, you know what? That was some really good bread. So I'm not going to feel bad about that.
No.
I'm going to move right on.
Yeah.
Do a couple extra deadlifts.
Right. Yeah. There you go. It's fine.
It'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, we live in a fallen world and, that's unfortunately part of it is that they have now made most everything we consume or are exposed to toxic. So there's just physically no way to really avoid it all.
Right.
And you just have to keep reminding yourself that God's in control and
that's all you can do. And do the best you can. Yep. Agreed.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, this was been like a fun kind of all over the place episode, but what we're going to do for the next episode, next time we talk health anyways, I think we're probably going to bring in a couple of our favorite brands and we're going to do a little bit more of a deep dive on some of the products that
and we're not sponsored. These are just things that we've used for a long time.
Yep. And I'll bring in some of the oldies but goodies because I think the key, especially for me, I've been doing some of this for like 20, 30 years. So I have products that have been part of that journey for a while. And then I have some newer ones. So I'm going to bring some of those.
Talk about the jiggler?
Oh, we could do the jiggler plate.
Yeah, let's do a jiggler.
We'll do a jiggler plate episode at some point. You'll love that.
It's awesome. It's good.
Lymphatic,
what does it do?
Lymphatic cleansing. Right. Very important, friends.
Yeah.
We could also bring in the infrared sauna blanket.
Oh, yeah, the hot pocket.
The hot pocket, as my family likes to call it when I climb into it. We can do that sometime.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's really
Well,
good.
anyways, no, it's been good. It's been good catching up with all of our viewers out there. Make
Yeah.
sure you like the podcast, share the podcast, and then leave us comments. Like, what do you want to learn about? What do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
I spend most of my time in the morning when I'm working out listening to podcasts, reading. I'm getting my education in nutrition and sports health, and I'm going to be a physical fitness trainer. So I have a passion for these things, and I personally want to hear from you so that we can try to help you uncover some of the information and things that you need for your life. And I know you have a passion. You're like super into eating healthy, taking care of yourself, homesteading.
I
That's
like
kinda
to
your
go back
vibe.
to the old ways.
You're an old soul at heart.
I don't like the new. I want to just go back.
Yeah.
I want to crochet. I want to knit. I'm like a
We're
grandma.
like polar opposites.
Yeah.
But we buy
Yeah.
all the same things.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't understand.
Yeah. Twins.
I just don't want that. No.
What?
I don't want to crochet.
Oh yeah, you
I
don't want to
wanna
knit.
can.
Yeah, you don't have time
No.
for it. You don't have the patience
Yeah, I just want my Chanel.
Yeah.
And
your Costco.
my Costco
Mm-hmm.
and my vacation.
I just want to milk a cow.
Oh my God.
That's all I want to do.
I want to drink the milk from your cow, but I do not want any part of the cow
Yeah, I just wanna milk
process
a cow.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
That's why we make a good team.
Yep.
Yes. All right. Well, do you want to close this out?
Sure.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate everyone watching. You can follow us on Facebook. We have a Facebook group, and that's where we do like accountability check-ins, and you can kind of post your progress there. We don't have an Instagram page yet, but we could probably get one going pretty soon. Follow our blog. We usually post. We're going to try posting more regularly. And that's at narrowpathwellness.com. And you can check our link in the show notes, and we'll put links to any products that we talk about. And we just want to thank you guys for watching.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.